Okay, so tonight for dinner, we're going to be having a kind of spaghetti carbonara with a browned butter sauce. And I needed a veg for dinner, so I decided that I would go ahead and try to use up this last little bit of spinach from my $2.62 bargain from Smart and Final. And I have picked a bowl of the nicest remaining pieces. So I'll add that to my pasta and what have you. Then I have some that was a little bit wet at the bottom of the bag. It's not slimy, it's not moldy, it doesn't smell bad. It's just maybe not as fresh as you might want for like a salad or what have you. But I don't like waste. So we're going to go ahead and dehydrate this. And I've got it on my dehydrator tray here. We're not going to fire up the dehydrator just for one rack. So we'll probably go ahead and get another rack for this. But I also plan on dehydrating onions because last week I forgot to purchase them and used a substantial amount of my dehydrated onion for daily cooking. I was glad I had it because I didn't want to go back to the store, but it's not something that I want to run out of. And you say, Shorty, what are you going to do with all that dehydrated spinach? Well, I put it in the spice grinder and I make this powder. I just call it green powder. And this is actually a combination of any green that I have in my refrigerator that looks like it's on its last day. So it's romaine, it's spinach, it's greens, whatever might be in there that's getting ready to go, goes into the dehydrator, gets mixed into a green powder with the spice grinder. And then how I would use this is like tonight, if I didn't have a fresh veg in my refrigerator like the spinach, if I didn't have anything to make a salad, or if we were just on a really tight budget and fresh greens weren't something that we were going to get in and I didn't have some growing in the garden, that I would just take this and I would just go ahead and take out maybe 2 or 3 teaspoons full, add a little hot water to it, and then I would add this to my pasta and still get a lot of good nutrients from the green powder. And isn't it a pretty color? It just, the powders that I make and the dehydrated items sometimes just turn out so beautifully. And Andrew loves the spice cabinet. He opens it up and he smells it all the time. And he tells me that my spice cabinet is one of his favorite fragrances. So, yeah, and it does smell good. It smells like fresh cut grass. So, yep, that's what I will do with my dehydrated spinach. And I'll go ahead and get going on that. Okay, my lovelies. Well, we're going to go ahead and dehydrate onions. And like I said, this is one of my favorite things to dehydrate because it is so versatile. Anytime that I'm out of an onion, I can add that to a soup, a stew, a sauce. I can add a little boiling water on top of it and rehydrate it, and then it's good for sandwiches or something like that you would use as a fresh product. And I have both sweet yellow onions and red onions because these were on sale at Albertsons, and I have a lot of them. And we're going to go ahead and get these on the trays to dehydrate. And we're doing that now because we have the spinach that's already getting started out there on the dehydrator. If you're going to fire it up, you might as well just go for it and do a lot. So I've got my cutting board. I've got a slightly damp towel underneath of it so that it doesn't slide around a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with a sweet yellow onion. I am going to save the skins in this bowl from my sweet yellow onion because I am going to add them to my stock. And yes, you can add the skins, you can add the tops and the bottoms, and we're going to add it to the stock pot. We're going to put the water in. We're going to let that simmer. I'm probably going to let it simmer overnight, and then that will work just fine. I, however, am not going to add any of the red onion to my stock And I'm not doing it because I don't really want my stock to be red. And it will make your stock very red. And I might be a little bit particular on the color of my stock because I'm not sure if my stock put into certain food preparations would be appreciated by Andrew. And so, you know what, we'll just not worry about that, and we'll throw those red skins and the tops and the bottoms into the compost pile, and they will just do their thing out there. So I just cut these in half for easy peeling, and it's got a little bit of the skin membrane here. Just peel that off, and then I consider this a little bit more. Okay, there we go. I consider this the stem and this the stern, and so I will just cut the stern off, throw that into my stockpile, and then, like, I'm not worrying about how these look because they will shrink and be much, much smaller when we dehydrate them. And then from there, I will just lay them in a single layer on the dehydrator tray, and they will be ready to go out for dehydrating. Now, let me tell you something, and this is no joke. When you dehydrate onions, please, 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 please do it outside. Don't do it in your house. Do it outside. This will smell. This will smell to high heavens. And you will put this on, and pretty soon, in a couple of hours, if they were in your house, yeah, it would be very overwhelming. It would tremendously overwhelming. Even putting them outside can be tremendously overwhelming. The very first time that I did this, one of my neighbors came over and asked me if everything was okay over here. And I said, sure, everything's okay. Why do you ask? Like, well, we hate to say anything, but it smells over here. And I live in a subdivision, but our houses and lots are a little bit bigger. We're not right up on top of each other. There's plenty of open space between me and my neighbors. But yeah, all of my neighbors know when I'm dehydrating, and it smells. So please, please, please do this outside. Do this, gosh, I can't even recommend doing it in the garage. Your garage will smell like onions for a long time. So I will do them on the back patio. The dehydrator is already set up there. I'm lucky enough to have an electrical outlet. But yeah, if you have the ability to do these outside, I would highly, highly recommend it. And we might actually have to do a couple of different bunches of these. We'll see what happens. These are pretty large onions, so yeah. But they will be delicious, and we will use them. And I don't know why now everything that I buy has a sticker on it. Probably because they're trying to encourage self-checkout as much as humanly possible. And I just don't like self-checkout. But each to their own. Each to their own. I would rather talk to a cashier. I find it easier to spot problems with my total while I'm at the cashier stand. And certainly it's easier for a cashier to make an adjustment if necessary, rather than me having to wait for somebody that is monitoring, you know, between 4 and 10 different stations of self-checkout. But that's just my personal preference. Yeah, these onions are rather large, so we might actually have to do this over a couple of days. But that's all right. We're not doing anything else. Okay, and then we're just going to do one of the red onions. And like I said, we're not keeping the skins or the ends for broth on these or stock. I just don't think that it's an appealing color with everything else. It doesn't make a good mix-up. And also, when you're thinking about stacking your dehydrator, I like to do like items. So we've got the spinach out there, and I think you can dehydrate spinach and onions together. But I probably would not dehydrate onions with bananas or apples or anything like that. I wouldn't want them to have an essence of the onions. But yeah, like items, totally. I could also dehydrate mushrooms with the onions, you know, in the same stack. And I'll show you the stack here in a second. And you know what else we should do is grab some green onions, because this tray is a little light. Grab some green onions from the garden and go ahead and dehydrate those and put them all together. That would be fine. That would fill up this tray, and then we would have a full tray and 3 kinds of onions, and that sounds delicious to me. So I'm gonna go grab some green onions. I've got my green onion tops from the garden, and they're really long, and I rarely actually pull the green onion, because what I've found is that even if they bolt and I leave them in the ground, they will still come back up and be delicious even after bolting. It takes a few weeks, but they'll be right back in good shape. So I've got them in my salad spinner. I'm gonna go give them a good wash up because it's dirty out there. Okay, so we're back with our freshly washed green onions. And you know what? I'm just gonna lay these right over top of these white, or the sweet yellow onion, in the same tray for the dehydrator. And that will be just fine. And I have these on the dehydrator at 135 degrees, and that is recommended setting for fruits and vegetables. And so I'm gonna go put those out. Okay, and this is my Nesco dehydrator, and you'll see that I've got the little blue tape pieces on the side, because as I turn this, I want to know how much I've turned it, which ones to be turned next, and do I have to restack them. So in this one, at the very bottom, that's what's going to get the least amount of heat, and I have my spinach in that one, and then I have my sweet yellow onions with the green onions next to that one, and then another sweet onion, and then 2 of the red onion. And those have been on less than 5 minutes, and I can already tell you that it is very smelly out here. But yeah, it's the Nesco. It's a dehydrator for food and jerky. I've never actually done jerky. Maybe we'll do that. And then it just has the the knob for selecting your temperature. So I've got it at 135 degrees, which is the recommended setting for fruits and vegetables. This is really helpful, so I don't have to remember things, and I don't have to hang up a cheat sheet. I have never done meat, fish, or jerky, but I am anxious to try that. A long time ago, we tried a jerky, Andrew and I did, with 2 box fans, and he really enjoyed it. It did not have the best texture, though I thought it tasted delicious. So maybe we will try the jerky in the Nesco dehydrator. Now they do sell these trays separately, and you can stack them as tall as you can reach them, I imagine. But just remember that the taller that you stack them, the longer it may take for them to dehydrate. This is going to be the warmest tray. This one's probably going to be ready first. And then we will just check on the doneness of the remainder as we go. Let's make some vegetable stock. So I have this bag, and I've been saving it for a while, and it's got good various vegetable scraps in it from the freezer, whatever peels I had, whatever ends and pieces, whatever was in the refrigerator that didn't look like it was going to last one more day, just went into this bag in the freezer until I got a good enough collection together. And we're just going to dump that right in. Oh, it's a bag in a bag. Oh, it's a good... Maybe I should look through and make sure I don't have any more surprises. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, this is carrots, and I see some broccoli, and some cauliflower, and some celery, and a little bit of corn. I also have these weaselly, terrible carrots that I was complaining about yesterday. I'm not happy with them, but we're not going to waste them. And so we're just going to throw those all in on top. They've been washed, and we are going to thoroughly strain this stock when it's done. So I'm not worried. Like I said, I'm not worried about peels. I'm not worried about peeling anything. Kind of glad I didn't cook that plastic bag, but other than that, I'm all right. Okay, so this is very, very full. This is going to take a substantial amount of water. That's okay. We've got it. Water's cheap for now. All right, so let's get the big measuring cup out, and I'm going to fill this. You know what? I'm going to fill it all the way to the top. And sure, you could use distilled water. You could use water from purified water, or water from a bottle, or water from a jug, but I'm just too cheap for that. And I will put this back in the door of the refrigerator to continue to collect my veg scraps for next time. There really wasn't any potentially hazardous food products in there. It's mostly all waste. It's been in the freezer, so I don't feel like there's anything growing on it. And then we will just go ahead and pour this over. Oh, and I'm making a mess. Well, that's okay. Probably this counter needed to be cleaned up anyhow. Wow, I have really made a mess. Okay. That's all right. We'll clean it up. No worries. Spills happen. I was a child who spilled my beverage at dinner every single night, and it aggravated the heck out of my parents like nobody's business. And then it made me very nervous. And then the more nervous that I got, the more I spilled. And so it was a very long time to overcome that. I hardly ever spill at dinner anymore, thank goodness. I have outgrown that. For now, who knows what happens down the road. Okay, so we're almost at the top, and that's going to be 8 cups of liquid. And the great thing about doing this in a slow cooker is that when you cook in a slow cooker, pardon me, when you cook in a slow cooker, there is very little fluid loss. There's very little steam. There won't be much of a reduction. So we should get close to the full 8 cups. And I'm just going to turn that on low. And then I'm just going to boogie this on back to the back of my countertop here. And for me, that's just fine because I can barely reach back there anyhow. So out of sight, out of mind. And I probably will let that go overnight. It's a pretty new crock pot. It's on a GFCI plug, and I don't sleep too far away from here. Our fire alarm has a brand new battery, and so it should be perfectly safe. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that this is what I am going to do. Safety first. Safety first, people. Don't be dangerous. Hello, my lovelies. Well, it's dinner time. And the question today, what's for dinner? we're going to have like a spaghetti carbonara. So I've got some water boiling here on the stove. We're going to make a browned butter to go on top of it. And then we're going to have some bacon crumbles, some spinach, some Parmesan cheese, and the real luxury today, a couple of eggs. So I'm going to start by turning on this burner. And I'm going to turn it on to 5. 5 seems good. And I'm dropping a stick of butter in here. That's a half cup. And I'm going to let that start melting. I am going to save my butter wrapper for my collection so I can grease pans and what have you. And we're going to let this just start to heat up. Browned butter sauce is fast and easy and relatively affordable. So I got this butter on sale for $2.50 a pound. And we're using 1/4 of the pound. So that comes out, 45 cents? So 45 cents, and we are just going to let that brown. And I'll show you the butter as it goes through its various stages. So first it will melt, and then it will start to foam up a little bit, and then beyond the foam you'll start to see the bottom brown. But before you see the bottom brown, you are going to smell it, and it is going to smell amazing, because butter, when it browns, will smell very nutty and very delicious. Little nutty like me. I've got this mason jar here, and we're going to just kind of give our eggs a quick shake up in there. And then I'm also going to reuse this jar to make a breakfast quick and easy tomorrow. I'll put these in my compost bin in there and put those out in the garden. Eggshells are great for your garden. And then I need a lid. And this is just a mason jar. It's nice and clean. It's not sterilized because we're just going to give these eggs a shaky shake. But we're not going to wash the jar because I'm going to add some eggs, I'm going to add some bacon, I'm going to add some cheese. And then tomorrow morning I'm just going to take this lid off and I'm going to put it in the microwave, and I'm just going to make like a little scramble in here really quick, and then Andrew can eat that for breakfast. So we've got our egg. We're going to leave those out so we can prep our breakfast in the morning once we've added our egg to our carbonara. So I've got a 1 pound package here of angel hair pasta. That is Andrew's favorite, and we will just indulge him because I don't really care what pasta I have. I think it all tastes the same, but he likes the texture and the thinness of the noodle and what have you. So, yep, I don't care. They're all good to me. Pigpen likes the pasta, the angel hair pasta. He will be begging for it. He begs for everything. He's a mutt. Angel hair pasta won't take much time at all to come to a boil and cook. And that's good because fast and easy. That's a good deal. This is the spinach that I prepared earlier today, and it's all ready. And then here we also have 2 ounces of Kirkland bacon crumbles. And this is how it comes packaged. It's 20 ounces for about $9. And I checked online, and Sam's Club has a very similar product. It's also about $9. And it's fully cooked. Once open, needs to be refrigerated. I think it tastes delicious. And what we'll do is we will just go ahead and add that to our brown butter to crisp up once we get to that stage. So it's starting to crackle a little bit. And, well, that doesn't really show you anything. Let's see if we can get over here and get a good look at it without my phone falling in. What do you think? Okay, so there we go. It's kind of frothy. It's crackling a little bit. When we get to the point where it starts to kind of crackle, I'm going to back that down to about 3 because I do not want to burn my butter. We paid for it. Try to be a good steward of it and not burn it. And then I'm just going to push my pasta down a little bit over here. And like I said, this won't take any time at all for the pasta to cook through. And we're not going to kill it. We're just going to cook it to a reasonable amount of time. So there we go. We have that all prepped up. We have our egg. We have our bacon. We have our spinach. And then over here we have some shaved Parmesan cheese. I did get this on sale for like $1.57 and it's quite good. We also have some minced garlic, and I am going to add very little of this to our pasta. It will be fine. Okay. I keep hearing the water boil from the pasta and think that it's my butter burning. But you will know when you're there with the butter because, like I said, it will smell very nutty. It will have a slight brown color on the bottom. Not black, but brown. You may or may not be able to stir out all of the foam. I don't worry about it because when I add it to the pasta, the weight of the pasta, the spinach, and everything else will just make that foam disappear. It'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. And we are almost there even now on this pasta. So, yay, hooray. And our butter's just doing its happy little dance over here. And I've got my colander already in the sink. And so, yeah. Now, right before you think that our pasta is going to be done, we're going to add our spinach to the pasta and boiling water. And that's now. That's now. So I just want to give this a quick little blanch to heat it up, wilt it a little bit. And so I'm just going to add that to my pasta and water. And that water has been seasoned with salt, so it will impart a little bit of flavor to our spinach and do what it needs to do. And our brown butter is coming right along. Now I used the whole package of pasta. I'm going to have 4 servings out of this. 2 for tonight, and then 2 hopefully for lunches tomorrow. And that will be plenty. And I can smell it now that it is coming up on smelling just a little bit nutty, so I don't really want to walk away very far. But I do know that Andrew will want some garlic bread, so I'm just going to turn the Easy Bake Oven on and let that start toasting up the garlic bread. And my pasta and spinach are almost done. And let's just check on this pasta. I'm not so much worried about cooking through the spinach. I am more concerned with overcooking my pasta, which is fine. And my browned butter sauce is just about there. I'm not sure. It's a lot foamy. Oh, and I think it's started to rain. All right, well, hot diggity. We'll take rain. We're never going to complain about rain here in the desert. Let me see if I can pour this off into a measuring cup so you can get a better look at the color. Okay. so delicious. I just want to make sure I get every little bit. And you know, I always seem to choose the wrong utensil when I should be choosing the spatula. That feels like the name of the game today. It's alright. It's okay. There's room in the dishwasher. I've gotten all of today's items that I used for my work today already washed and or put into the dishwasher. I try not to wash too many hand items because hand washing, from what I have read, uses significantly more water than washing with a dishwasher. And I do have a newer dishwasher that is low E, and I'm going to turn that burner off before I burn myself. And so this is the color of my browned butter. No black flakes, no burnt smell, no scorching, just a really browned butter. And that's basically the toasting of the milk fat solids. And I know this doesn't seem like it would be enough sauce for a whole pound of pasta, but I can assure you it will coat the pasta very thoroughly and will be quite delicious. And you know, I really wanted that pan because I forgot we were going to toast up our bacon just a tad, but that's okay. We can get a fresh one out. And we'll go ahead and put this little skillet over here, and we'll just pop that burner back on. I knew I was forgetting something. We'll just go ahead and put that over to a 5. Our pasta is done. We'll pull this off and run it through the strainer. And just let that dry a little bit. Now I will turn that burner off. And as I said, we're just going to crisp up this bacon a little bit. It's fully cooked, but it is a little bit not crisp. And it'd be much better being a little bit more crisp. So that just will take a second. No big deal. And now I'm going to dump my drained pasta and spinach back into my big pot. And my spinach kind of stuck to the sides a little bit, so let's grab this spoon. Perfect, no worries, we got this. It's just dinner. It'll be all right. Not rocket science. We're not curing cancer. Okay, so that's my spaghetti or my angel hair pasta and my spinach. And it's really super hot, so I'm just going to give it a little stir up here. And now to that, I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic. Well, maybe I'll put the garlic in with just a little bit. I'll put the garlic in with the bacon so it can get a little bit more cooked. That's fine. But I don't want any of this to scorch, and I certainly don't want to overcook my garlic in this bacon pan, because scorched bacon is not good, but I can tolerate that a lot better than burnt garlic. But that just seemed to do the trick. Fabulous. Okay, so we've got our egg. Shaky. And literally, I guess it is shaky, eggs and bacon. And I'm just going to dump that over my pasta. The remainder heat from the pasta and the spinach, we'll go ahead and allow that egg to cook. It doesn't need much of anything else from me. And now I will add the bacon, garlic, what have you in here. And I know 2 ounces of bacon doesn't seem as if it will be enough, but I assure you, there will be a little bit of bacon in every bite. Okay, so we've got our eggs, we've got our garlic. This dinner comes together super easy, super simple. And now I'm going to add the browned butter in. And Use my spatula to make sure I get every delicious drop. Now, if you didn't have butter, you could certainly do this with olive oil. That would be delicious as well. But since we were able to get butter on sale, I'm grateful and I'm going to use it. And I hope that when I go to the grocery store that we are able to get some discounted eggs. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Now I'm just going to take a pair of tongs and I'm just going to stretch and coat all of my pasta with that browned butter, incorporate all the bacon, stir up the egg just a tiny bit, and absolutely. So about 45 cents for the butter, about 65 cents for the bacon crumbles. Hello. Our big ticket item is the eggs. We use 2, so that's $1. I'll put the lid on. I'm going to transfer this back over to the warming burner. $1 for the box of pasta. For me, the minced garlic was free. It was one of my free items, and it is a huge amount, and I'm hoping that I can go through it before it starts to get a little bit wonky. But if I can't, I'm going to dehydrate it. Okay, and then we have our Parmesan cheese. I'm going to top that right before it gets served. And now we're kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern with our dinner. It's doing what it needs to do in here. It's staying nice and warm. And then we're just going to come over here and we're going to make that's my soda. And we're just going to make the breakfast for tomorrow. So, super easy, no worries. I'm not going to stress out about it. I'm going to go ahead and crack 2 eggs in here. Oh, shoot. Really? Lord have mercy. I'm going to have 1 egg left. I'm not going to waste the room in the refrigerator for 1 egg. I'm going to go ahead and just slide this into the lunch meat drawer, and I'm sure I will find something to do with it. It won't get wasted, and it will be relatively safe in the lunch meat drawer. Okay, so then we'll add a little bit of bacon crumbles in here. Also go ahead and add a little Parmesan cheese. Okay, my lovelies, well, we have come to the end of our day finally, and boy, hasn't it been busy. So we've done all kinds of dehydrating, we've made vegetable stock, we've made bread cubes for stuffing. We're going to be I'm really excited to make that later on in the week for a pork chop meal, because Andrew has been requesting pork chops, and you know I like to indulge him. And so we're going to be using that in a pork chop meal. Dinner tonight was really good. The spaghetti carbonara was excellent. It had plenty of bacon, it had plenty of eggs, and it had plenty of cheese. And so while mostly a heavy carbohydrate dish, it did have protein. And then we added the spinach for our veg, and it was delicious. This whole meal came out at about $4, so $1 per serving. We had 2 last night. Andrew's going to have it for lunch tomorrow, and then possibly even the following day. And that's just good math. That's just $1 a serving. And it came together in less than 18 minutes. So if I had gotten in my car and drove across the street to the McDonald's, my McDonald's is the slowest McDonald's in the entire world, and did manage to find 4 things on the value menu, which is no longer $1 where I live. Um, it would have taken me longer than 18 minutes to get into the car, into the drive-through, through the drive-through, if they didn't make me go around and park in the front, and then to drive home would have taken longer than 18 minutes. So this is a really quick meal. It doesn't require a lot of ingredients. If I didn't have butter, I would have used olive oil. If I didn't have bacon, maybe I have some ham, maybe I have some lunch meat, maybe it doesn't get any meat at all. Maybe it just gets cheese. If I didn't have cheese, I just wouldn't have added it. Maybe it gets extra veg so that it's a little healthier. The possibilities are endless. It's your dish. You add to it what you have, what you think is good, what's delicious to you, and most importantly, you're feeding your family, and that's a good day no matter what. So, thanks for watching Crazy But Not Dangerous. I'm Shorty Vaughn, and I've been very glad to have you, and I'll go ahead and post a picture of last night's finished plate. Again, thanks so much for watching. Think about liking and subscribing.